Story time, Abby. Since I don't get to tuck you in at night, you could listen to this. I love you. The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. At the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells sweet and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing excepting old crows, lies the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass some people say, if you look deep enough you can still see today, when the Lorax first stood, just as long as it could, before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was a Lorax, and why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, the old Onceler still lives. Ask him. He knows. You won't see the Onceler, don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkum at the top of his store. He lurks in his lurkum cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muffled moof. And on special dank midnights in August he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks, and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail, and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather's snail. Then he pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count to make sure you paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snub, his secret strange hole in his groovulous glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper my phone, for the secrets I tell you are for your ears alone. Slurp. Down slips the whisper my phone to your ear, and the old Onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly holes, and he sounds as if he has smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started back, such a long, long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the air was still clean, and the swami songs rang out in space, one morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright-colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile, in the sweet morning breeze. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots, frisking about in their barbaloot suits, as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. From the rippulous pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. But those trees, those truffula trees, all my life I'd been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. In no time at all, I built a small shop, then chopped down a truffula tree with one chop. And with great skillful skill and great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft, and I knitted a thneed. The instant I'd finished, I heard a gazump. I looked. I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I'd chopped down. Well, it was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I am the Lorax, and I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees which you have because they have no tongue. And I am asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset, and he shouted and puffed, What's that thing you've made out of my truffula tuft? Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped down just one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed, and a thneed is a fine something that all people need. It's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat, but it has other uses Yes, far beyond that. You can use it as carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains or covers for bicycle seats. The Lorax said, Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy a fool Thneed. But that very minute I proved he was wrong, for just at that minute a chap came along, and he thought that the Thneed I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. You poor stupid guy, you never can tell what some people will buy. I repeat, cried the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I'm busy, I told him. Shut up, if you please. I rushed across the room and in no time at all built a radio phone and I put in a quick call. I called my brothers and uncles and aunts and said, listen, here's a wonderful chance for the whole Wensler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast, take the road to North Nitch, turn left at Weehawken, sharp right at South Stitch. And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Wensler family was working full tilt. We were all making Thneeds just as busy as bees, to the sound of the tropping of truffula trees. Then, oh baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now I was chopping down trees when time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffula trees at one smacker. We were making Thneeds 4 times fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But the next week he knocked on the new office door. He snapped, I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping down as fast as you please. But I'm also the charge of the brown barbaloots, who played in the shade and ate their barbaloot suits, and happily lived, eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go round, and my poor barbaloots are getting crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. They love living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys, he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Wensler, felt sad as I watched them all go. But business is business, and business must go, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. I meant no harm, I most truly did not. But I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. Biggering my factory, biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, and I biggered their loads. Of the Thneeds I was shipped out, I was shipping them from the south to the east, to the west, to the north. I went on right on biggering, selling more Thneeds, and biggering my money, which everyone needs. Then, again, he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. I am the Lorax. He coughed and he whiffed. He sneezed and he snuffled. He snargled. He sniffed. Wensler, he cried with a croftless croak. Wensler, you're making up such smogulous smoke. My poor swami swans, why they can't sing a note. No one can sing with smog in his throat. And so, said the Lorax, please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where they will go, I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape the smog you've smogged up around here. What's more, snapped the Lorax, his dander was up. Let me say a word about gluppity-glup. Your machinery chugs on night and day without stop, making gluppity-glup and also schloppity-schlop. And what do you do with the leftover goop? I'll show you, you nasty old Wensler, you. You're glumping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off, that their future is dreary. They'll have to walk on their fins and get woefully weary, in search of some water that isn't so smeary. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax, now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap, yap, yap and say bad, 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 bad. Well, Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffle trees into the needs which everyone needs. And then, at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the field, we heard a sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard that tree fall, the very last truffle tree of them all. No more trees, no more needs, no more work to be done. So in no time my uncles, aunts, and everyone all waved me goodbye. Then they jumped on their cars and drove away under smog-smothered stars. Now all that was left beneath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax, and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad backwards glance, as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants. And I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself and took leave of this place, through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left here was this mess. It was a small pile of rocks with one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago. But each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years, while my buildings have fallen apart, and I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you who cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So, catch, calls the Onceler. He lets something drop. It's a truffle seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the truffle seed. And the truffle trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffle, treat it with care. Give it clean water and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hacked. Then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. I love you, Abby. You are the one who can make the change. I love you. Good night.